morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'll be covering the Australian Grand Prix that just took place on March 24th, just in case you guys missed it. So, without further ado, let's start. Let's start off with the qualifying. So, the qualifying grid looked as the following, with Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, and Sergio Perez starting P1, P2, and P3 respectively. Perez faced a three-place grid penalty for causing Nico Hülkenberg from Haas to go wide in Q1 and cause Hülkenberg to DNF. So instead, Lando Norris from McLaren started at P3. Now, as the race started, almost everyone got a decent start, which is surprising as the Australian Grand Prix is known to take out many cars on the first turn. Around lap 2, Sainz really started to pick up the pace and eventually overtook Max Verstappen for P1. Now, in retrospect, it was kind of obvious that Verstappen clearly slowed down. However, in the moment, no one really saw a problem. Instead, everyone was filled with excitement as it has been a minute since we've seen a Verstappen takeover. However, Verstappen's problem became very clear as his rear right brakes caught on fire around lap 3. This caused his engine to leak and his whole car to smoke, and eventually caused him to retire and DNF. A fire extinguisher was required in the pit lanes. However, Verstappen did make it out safely, although very angry.
You make me feel like I'm alive again.
Now at this point, everyone knew that we had an exciting race at our hands, as even the three-time world champion Max Verstappen cracked under the pressure of the notoriously harsh Australian Grand Prix. The race continued with Ferrari and McLaren both finding pace and Aston Martin and Mercedes slowly making progress. However, everyone still expected Sergio Checo Perez to take up the mantle and win the race for Red Bull. Sergio Perez came out of the pit lane on lap 16 and battled it out with Hamilton for P7. Hamilton tried his best to overtake Perez, however the RB20 on fresher tires was just quicker, and there was nothing he could really do in the W15, which he had struggled to find pace in all weekend. And eventually, it seems like he pushed his car a little too hard and the engine just shut off and failed at lap 17. Overall, both Mercedes, Russell and Hamilton were both having a difficult time finding pace the entire race, although they did have moments of success. Now, there was a point after this where Charles Leclerc could have overtaken Carlos Sainz, but due to team orders by Ferrari, they both maintained P1 and P2 and maintained their tires while also defending against McLaren, which was finding better pace than them at that point. Now, for once, Ferrari actually made a good decision in terms of tactics, and it shows that they're improving as a team. As I mentioned, McLaren pressured Ferrari the entire race and almost caught up. However, Ferrari was saved by a late safety car and yellow flag caused by George Russell to DNF on the last lap. Yes, a double DNF for Mercedes. Horrible day to be a fan of Mercedes. Overall, McLaren did a really good job during the race, and besides an unfortunate lockup for Oscar Piastri, which he recovered from really well, McLaren had an almost flawless race, almost as equally as flawless as Ferrari. Now, towards the back of the grid, Haas and Williams battled it out around the P10 position. Leading up to the race, Alex Albon's car had crashed out during practice. However, the team stepped in and asked Sargent to give his car up for Alex Albon, being that he was the more experienced driver and overall the better driver. Sargent agreed to this. However, Alex Albon, being outmanned by Haas, he could not make his way into the points, and Hülkenberg and Magnussen both scored P9, P10. So the race concluded with the safety car, which was somewhat anticlimactic, but however saved Ferrari from a McLaren domination. The podium finished with Sainz at P1, Leclerc at P2.
When did you realize you were like, shit, I got motion, twin? Since birth.
And Lando Norris at P3, followed closely behind by Oscar Piastri, and behind them trailed the rest of the grid, led by Sergio Perez's faulty RB20.
I don't know why these songs can't stand me. I guess I'm too demanding when they hit a double coat the candy.
Now this race was the most exciting race of the season up to now, and it showed that the other teams are really catching up to the RB20, and the RB20 might actually be in trouble right now with the new modifications leading up to this race. Overall, it shows that the championship might not be that one-sided and there might be actual competition at the top. We do have 2 weeks until the Japanese Grand Prix, and I'm excited to see how the teams will modify their cars and how Red Bull especially will deal with this underwhelming race. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, I will be covering the rest of the Grand Prix, and check out some of my other videos. Thank you.